Hola. Oh, let me fix my volume here. What is up, everybody? Welcome. I feel like I'm not centered. It's kind of annoying. This camera thing is really annoying the shit out of me. I'm gonna have to. Oh, no cursing. It's the beginning. It's 20 seconds in. Sorry. Cancelled. Demonetized. Oh well. Let me get up the studio here. How you guys doing? Happy Friday. And I figured we'd talk a little bit, go over a bunch of stuff, actually. So are we live here? Did we launch? Okay, good. We're good. Amazing. And do we have notifications? That's another thing. I don't even know. After everything we did yesterday, do we not have notifications? I can buy myself flowers. We do have notifications. Okay. What's up? Thank you, MH. I don't like this light on me. I feel like it's like a spotlight, like a heat lamp on me or something. What's up? So, there's a couple things to go over with this story, the submarine. Some people are probably tired of talking about it because we've been talking about it a lot. Everybody in the news is talking about it. People feel some kind of way. But I also thought once we get through all this stuff, because there's quite a bit of stuff we can talk about. Damn, like not centered. I don't know. We can talk about, or we can do calls if people want to call in. Because I was figuring if people either want to share their thoughts about the submarine implosion thing, or if they want to share their near-death experience. So we'll open up the lines later if anybody wants to call. But if not, we got a bunch of stuff anyway to go through. Thanks. Where the wind blows. All right. So I guess let's get started. So you guys probably have heard of the Ocean Gate's liability waiver that warns about a risk of death 8 times and asks customers to take full responsibility, even if the company is negligent. Could protect it from lawsuits, experts warn. So we can just get straight to the actual documentation, which I have to reopen it because I restarted the computer before I started this stream. Ocean Gate waiver. Would you guys sign this waiver? I think sometimes we get so used to signing things sometimes. Some people don't look at this shit anymore. My mother's always somebody that always telling me, check, make sure you check. Sometimes I kind of just, I can't lie. Sometimes I sign things, don't really look too much at it, especially medical forms. It says here, I, Melvin, acknowledge that I have voluntarily applied to participate in a submersible operation arranged by Ocean Gate Expeditions, Ltd., a company registered in the Bahamas. I have been informed about the nature of the operation and the risk it presents, including that the operation includes activities involving subsurface vessels, surface vessels, and or remotely operated vehicles that are on, near, or under the water. A portion of the operation will be conducted inside an experimental submersible vessel. The experimental submersible vessel has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body or may be constructed of materials that have not been widely used in human-occupied submersibles. That'd be like a red flag to me right there. Like, damn, what are they using in this shit? Christine in the chat says, apparently you can still sue, I guess I meant to say sue for gross negligence. That's a good question. I would think Farfalla said, was this before or after they put down their deposit or full payment? I would think that this would be before the payment, I hope. And by the way, like when I'm reading stuff too, if anybody's texting me, I'm probably not going to see your text. So don't get upset with me. I'm not saying for anybody. A lot of people have been reaching out to me lately, but especially when I'm reading like long things, it's going to take me a while. All right. So number 3, when diving below the ocean surface. Let me try that again. When diving below the ocean surface, this vessel will be subject to extreme pressure, and any failure of the vessel while I am aboard could cause severe injury or death. I understand that I may decline to participate in any dive below the ocean surface or any activity of the operation at any time. Number 4, support vessels. Upon which I may board are industrial vessels not specifically designed for passenger operations and present many hazards, including, without limitation, large/heavy objects, heavy swinging doors, and low overhangs. These could become even more hazardous in heavy seas. In addition, during the operation, I may board small vessels and other equipment that could expose me to property damage, injury, disability, or death. Which I feel like, of course, this waiver is to cover them. But if you're getting into submersible like this, you know there's going to be some crazy ass risks. But at the same time, and there's a lot of stuff we're going to get into video clips with regards to like safety, because I don't know, I think this guy, the CEO Stockton, kind of made people feel comfortable, or made people feel like this thing is safe. Let's see here. Number 5, if I choose to assist in the servicing or operation of the submersible vessel, I will be exposed to risks associated with high pressure gases, pure oxygen servicing, high voltage electrical systems, and other dangers that could lead to property damage, injury, disability, and death. Number 6, the operation will take place largely at a great distance from the nearest hospital or rescue personnel. If I'm injured during the operation, I may not receive immediate medical attention. First aid available on the ship may not be equivalent to what is on land. And I wonder if they even had any kind of first aid thing in that submersible. Maybe just Band-Aids, like a little Band-Aid kit or something, a little alcohol container. Did they even have that? I don't know. Did they have fire extinguishers on there? Can you use a fire extinguisher in that type of situation? Because I was going through all these videos yesterday, last night, going down a little rabbit hole. And there have been submarines that have caught fire and people have died. So I wonder if they had any kind of fire safety on there. It says, I acknowledge that all travel in or around the water on vessels of any type, including submersibles, entails both known and anticipated risks that could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, death, harm to myself or third parties, or damage to my property. Although OceanGate Expeditions Ltd. will take steps to provide me with adequate training, equipment, and skilled personnel, I understand that such risks simply cannot be eliminated from any operation. The risk includes, without limitation, loss of footing, slips, and falls on deck, particularly in inclement weather, harm from falling objects on non-passenger vessels, drowning and malfunction or failure of the submersible, leading to death. There's like 100 ways that you could get hurt or die in this shit. Additional dangers may include the hazards of accidents or illness in remote places without access to emergency medical facilities, and acts of God, such as acts of God made me think like, damn, even God can't save your ass in this shit. But I know what they mean. Like, they're talking about weather. Even God can't save you in this shit. There's a waiver for God in this bitch. I acknowledge that the representatives of OceanGate Expeditions Ltd. Have been available to answer my questions and more fully explain to me the physical demands of the operations as well as the risks, hazards. Thank you for the super chat. All here for love. When people take their children to places like extreme indoors, bowling, etc., they make you sign waivers. That's true. I take my daughter to off the wall sometimes. It's like this place that has like trampoline type of thing. It's like this huge area they can run around. It's all bouncy. It's extreme indoor kind of thing. I don't think it's really that extreme, but they could get hurt. They could easily, I don't know, bounce and fall the wrong way, or I don't know. Or the kids sometimes running around, they could run into each other. Let's see. Okay, so I acknowledge that representatives of OceanGate Expeditions Ltd. Have been available to answer my questions and more fully explain to me the physical demands of the operation as well as risk, hazards, and dangers associated with the operation. I understand that the foregoing description of these risks is not complete and that other unanticipated inherent risks may occur. I am voluntarily participating in the operation with full knowledge of these facts set forth above, including the described risks and unknown risks. I understand that inherent risks in the activities that will be undertaken during the operation, and I hereby assume full responsibility for all risks of property damage, injury, disability, and death. All lawful consideration for being permitted to participate in the operation and on behalf of myself and hires, assigns personal representative, estate, and for all members of my family, including minor children, I hereby release, waive, and forever discharge OceanGate Expeditions Ltd. And its owner, OceanGate Inc., officers, directors, shareholders, principals, agents, representatives, members, employees, clients, everybody in the whole goddamn thing, their extended family and everybody else, subcontractors, OceanGate Foundation, and all of my co-volunteers, released parties participating in the operation from all liabilities, actions, claims, demands, costs, losses, or expense, which I or my hires, distributors, guardians, legal representatives, next of kin, yo, for real, or assignees may have against the released parties on the account of injury to myself or my property, or resulting in my death arising out of in any way connected to with participation in the operation, including travel to and from the operation site. I hereby assume full responsibility for the risk of bodily injury, disability, death, and property damage due to the negligence. What? Okay, let's do it again. I hereby assume full responsibility for the risk of bodily injury, disability, death, and property damage due to the negligence of any released party while involved in the operation. Any released party. So I over here, to me, it's like they're saying that if there's negligence, I think that's what in this article they were talking about. Even if the company is negligent. Oh, shit. I hereby agree to defend, indemnify, save, and hold harmless Ocean Gate Expeditions Ltd., Ocean Gate Inc., Ocean Gate Foundation, and other released parties from any loss, liability, damage, or cost they may incur due to any claim brought in violation of this release. I furthermore agree that my participation in this operation does not give rise to an employer/employee relationship and does not bind Ocean Gate Expeditions Ltd. To provide any form of workers' compensation, insurance, health insurance, or benefits. We ain't getting shit. During the operation, I consent to the administration of first aid and medical treatment, which may seem reasonably advisable in case of my injury or illness. If I'm unable to consent due to unconsciousness, disorientation, or other mental incapacity, I hereby appoint the captain of the support vessel as my first attorney, in fact, to consent to any treatment he or she deems advisable. I further certify that I am voluntarily assume the risk of any medical or physical condition I may have. I understand that Ocean Gates Expeditions may contract with independent contractors to provide services, including transportation, during the operation. I understand that Ocean Gates Expeditions Ltd. Has no control over and accepts no responsibility for the actions of any independent contractor involved in providing services during the operation. Wow. I had sufficient opportunity to read this entire document, signing this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Wow. Ocean Gate Foundation and other release parties that result signing this release. If any part of this release is deemed unenforceable, all parts shall be given full effect to the extent possible. Damn. Sign their lives away, yeah. Wow. I wanted to show, which one was it? There was this YouTuber's video. I should have put this shit in order.
In the vast...
Not him. Did I lose it?
Logitech game controllers most certainly do
not. So this guy has a great video. Deepwater Horizon happened just as I graduated. This guy's really cool. So do you guys know about Deepwater Horizon? I saw some I'm telling you, I was going down all this crazy shit. That was like this, I don't know what the proper terminology, those oil rigs. It was so interesting that exploded, and they talked about all the fail safes that people ignored, and it was so freaking interesting.
In the worst disaster,
it's like one of these things in the ocean, and you know, they drill and they have to deal with all kinds of pressure and all these safety mechanics, and this place burned to hell because they didn't want to do the maintenance, and they kept ignoring the maintenance and putting it back and putting it back and putting it back. And then finally, when shit is blowing up, and one of the big people was like, he was in his bathroom and like the thing blew in he was like bleeding from his face or something. They finally go to push the button. After all, they waited forever, because what happens is when they push the button, I forgot what it does. It's this emergency thing that cuts off, I think, the drill and detaches the entire thing or something like that. but they lose a lot of money, and I guess people were afraid to do that shit. And so when they went to go push it, it didn't work. And so they literally had to abandon this thing. Okay. And so this guy, I forgot, he said that his, let me see.
Admittedly, most of this task consisted of me disappointing others by explaining to robotics engineers how expensive the project would be. Interestingly, the design spec for that was for 4 kilometers depth, which is about the depth the Titanic's at. I also worked with data from the 5 Deeps expedition, so I'm surprisingly familiar with DSVs, and that's deep submergence vehicles, of which the Titan was one of them. I also have a fair amount of experience scuba diving, and was involved in an incident which has echoes of the incident discussed here, and we'll get to that later. I think it's very important to establish I'm not a leading expert on any of the elements of this incident, but I have knowledge and experience of most aspects of it. Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, was not stupid, well, not academically so anyway. He shares some similarities with me. We both have engineering degrees, we both wanted to be pilots at some point, although I went off the idea before I graduated, and we both got into subsea exploration subsequently. I believe we share very little in common personality-wise, though. Unlike other videos I've made, I'm not going to be making my usual dark humour jokes and memes and that kind of thing. I think the message here is stark and important enough for that to be left out. I could discuss this incident at length, but I need to maintain some kind of brevity. There are numerous potential contributory factors to this incident. I cannot cover them all, so I aim to cover those that are not.
I just want to cover the part where he talked about the carbon fiber.
An interview that, while some aspects may look improvised, the pressure vessel is solid. We'll come back to the first half of that statement later, but I have significant doubts that the pressure vessel was suitable for this application. It's important to appreciate that for atmospheric diving, there's no wiggle room in pressure vessels. They either fail or they do not. There's no such thing as a slow leak in a DSV. This DSV consisted of a carbon fiber composite tube.
And this is what a lot of people have talked about. Even the CEO Stockton messaged, or not messaged, but said, I'm reading somebody's message saying message, that he said that he knew this material, this carbon fiber with the titanium thing inside was like a no-no. And he was, what was he doing? He was breaking the rules type of thing.
With 2 hemispherical titanium end caps, one of which contained a viewport. There are reports that this viewport was only certified to 1,300 meters of depth, with the DSV regularly diving to 4,000. This particular point is so egregious I'm not going to go into it here. If this actually turns out to be the case, we could almost stop the video right now. No.
So he's talking about the depth, right? We've all already been talking about this, that supposedly this thing was only meant to go, what was it, 3,000, 4,000 feet? I forgot.
I'm not going to go into regularly diving to 4,000.
Yeah.
This particular point is so egregious.
So, and obviously this thing was going way lower than that, all right?
I'm not
so he's like, the video could be done right there, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll move past that.
Go into it here. If this actually turns out to be the case, we could almost stop the video right now. No domain knowledge required. But let's just assume that those admittedly pretty credible reports are erroneous. I'd like to talk about carbon fiber composite.
Rachel says, thank you for the super chat. Did you watch JB's live today? No, I didn't get to watch it. Apparently they tried to drop weights to float back up. Oh, is that true? Not sure if they had time for panic to register, but they knew. Ooh. Well, if you can send me the timestamp for that, or if somebody knows the timestamp, because I can't play their entire thing and, WFLA. But if you send me a timestamp, I'll play it so we can listen to that portion. That'd be great. All right.
Most pressure vessels I've worked with, and most pressure vessels in the world, are metal, usually steel. Steel and titanium is ideally homogeneous and isotropic if manufactured correctly. That means it's consistent throughout and has equal strength in all directions. It means if we can adequately test the quality of the material, we can be confident when and how it'll fail under pressure. Here's a typical failure curve for steel, though titanium behaves quite similarly. Stress, think of it as force applied, is on this axis, and strain, think of elongation, is on this axis. This section is the elastic deformation regime. If we limit the stress to this section only, the material will recover and not fail. For a metal pressure vessel, we can always ensure we remain in this elastic deformation section by doing the following. We test our pressure vessel to some pressure above the design limit but below this yield point. We physically inspect the material. For metal vessels, ultrasound inspection can reliably detect defects which would cause a premature failure. Monitoring the strain on the vessel using strain gauges or other means. This isn't always necessary, but it's easy and sometimes appropriate, considering that the strain in that vessel is proportional to the stress. Crucially, repeated stress cycles can introduce defects, so we must...
That's the interesting thing there too, and I have another couple of other video clips where they talk about repeated stress, repeated trips, because people are wondering, well, why didn't it happen the first trip, the second one, the third one, all these other trips. And so, and there was another video I watched too where they talk about the crush depth probably changed every time they went down without I don't know, maintenance or whatever. There's probably only so much this carbon fiber thing could take. And so with each trip, it's probably maybe reduce the structure's stability or weaken it.
Test with the necessary regularity.
Unless it was something else, unless they didn't tighten something, a bolt or whatever.
I do have to admit, I'm apprehensive at the concept of a carbon fiber compressive pressure vessel. Carbon fiber composite consists of woven fibers bonded by epoxy. It's very difficult word to say, inhomogeneous, and therefore much more difficult to inspect, and subject to more numerous failure modes. OceanGate's defense was that they had an acoustic and strain monitoring system in place on the hull. I remain far from convinced here. As we discussed, strain monitoring is of little use if we don't know the ultimate stress of the material.
And that's what, there was another video that I had watched yesterday where they talked about supposedly this guy, what he's mentioning now, had some sort of stress detection thing. But the guy said, one of the person yesterday that was talking about it, he would have got, I don't know, like a 2 millisecond notice, supposedly. So I don't know what that would have done, like right before, boom. But maybe that's what Rachel is saying, and I'm kind of curious. I don't know if the mods can find that, or Rachel, you can email me, the timestamp. I'm kind of curious to see what they were saying about that, because everybody was saying they wouldn't have had time to register. And you said they released the weight. Apparently they tried to drop the weights to float back up. How did they know that? Was that just in the explosion that the weights dropped, or is there some way they can know that that's actually what happened?
We can only really confidently know that, what the ultimate stress is, if we know the material is free of significant defects. Stockton stated it's impossible to test for such defects. Now, my knowledge of carbon fiber composite is quite limited for this application, but that statement is untrue. Here is a testing service offered for bikes, and I'm not here to disparage bikes. A front fork failure on a mountain bike could absolutely be fatal. X-ray testing seems to be the gold standard. If no suitable test rig was available, the only viable approach in OceanGate's case would be to commission one. If that was not possible, carbon fiber composite is not an ideal material and we don't use it.
Okay, I just want to skip to one other part in this video, but I'm going to put his link in the description because he did a really, really good job. I thought it was kind of dope. He took the time explaining. Take it for what it's worth, but I thought it was a cool explanation. Just Alex. There's one other part that I'm going to show you in that video, and then we'll move on. Okay. He does talk about too not safety.
After all, they just fins. I can't get hurt if they don't. Absolutely non-trivial here.
Okay, this part here, the controller, which I've mentioned this I don't know how many times. The first time I saw this controller thing. Oh, he said some interesting thing about the controller. Hold on.
Control system. First, I want to focus on the most widely reported, the control system. First, let's look at the most direct aspect.
Patsy, thank you for the gift.
The control unit is an off-the-shelf game controller. Even for the unmanned remote-operated vehicles, ROVs, I used to work closely with, this would be completely out of the question. Some commentators have stated this is standard practice in the military. It is not. Game controllers are great for applications like drones, remote turrets, that kind of thing. I'm not aware of any example of them being used as a primary means of control or propulsion, especially for anything man-rated. I can reasonably imagine an off-the-shelf controller as a secondary that could be passed around passengers to let them have a go. Why not? That is providing you can mitigate some of the other concerns I'm about to talk about, which is more difficult than you may suspect. But as a primary means of control, absolutely not. The obvious points, such as Bluetooth connection, less reliable, can cause interference, are absolutely non-trivial here. It's easy to say, no, but control's non-life critical. We can ascend to the surface at any point. We have multiple redundancies for that. It's simply not true, especially for a wreck dive where a sudden loss of control could cause a collision. Even encountering difficulties during control of the vessel increases task loading on the operator, potentially creates a high-stress situation where mistakes are made. That's just the direct effects of a non-suitable control interface.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Let's discuss some indirect effects. So I'll give oil platforms as an example. Everything that goes outside of the accommodation module must be fire rated. That means it's certified not to create sparks or fire. For an enclosed DSV, we'd expect similar, if not even more stringent requirements. Logitech game controllers most certainly do not have such a certification. Neither do lights from Camping World or LED power indicators from an electronics hobby store. And I doubt, and now admittedly this is speculation, the monitors and other electronics we see on the vessel are similarly rated. Electronics failing and giving off smoke may seem unlikely, but the stakes are so high, especially when they're used out of specification, as here.
Okay, that's it. So yeah, I thought that was a good video. Couple other things. I thought this was interesting too. We should take a watch at this. If you guys could hit the like button, I'd appreciate that.
Expanse of the North Atlantic, a tragic conclusion to the search that's captivated the world's attention.
Empire State Building made of lead sitting on top of you at that level.
Overnight on CNN, Titanic director James Cameron, himself a deep-sea
This guy's been going in.
record breaker,
James Cameron
criticized the Ocean Gate sub's carbon fiber composite design.
The collective we didn't remember the lesson of Titanic. These guys at Ocean Gate didn't, because the arrogance and the hubris that sent that ship to its doom is exactly the same thing that sent those people in that sub to their fate.
One of the men on board, Stockton Rush, the founder of Ocean Gate, which operated the sub, addressed those concerns last year.
I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did.
You see, and that's a really good clip too. That's a no-no. He knew that's a no-no, and he said they say don't do that, and I did.
He was trying to push the technology forward to make it larger submarines to go deeper, so he was taking risks.
Among those lost, famed billionaire and explorer Hamish Harding, French mariner Paul-Henri Nogelet, and Shahzada Dawood with his son Suleiman. Shahzada's sister says her nephew was terrified, but went on the journey to bond with his father, adding, while she's devastated by the loss, she's relieved to know they didn't suffer.
To know that my soulmate.
I want to show you this too, because they actually got a video of her. You said the aunt, right? And so this was the thing of like, this kid, I think he's 19. He didn't want to go on this trip. And he went because he didn't want to upset his dad, they're saying, and because it was Father's Day. So I guess maybe he felt bad and went for Father's Day. It'd be like a bonding thing.
Shahzada Dawood with his son Suleiman. Shahzada's sister says her nephew was terrified, but went on the journey to bond with his father, adding, while she's devastated by the loss, she's relieved to know they didn't suffer.
To know that my soulmate didn't feel a moment's pain, that his brain didn't even realize, that's relief.
Back now to that discussion that the Navy had heard the implosion on Sunday. They did notify Incident Command quickly that they thought they might have picked something up that they wanted to investigate. But Incident Command here in Boston said we still got to treat this as a search and rescue, flooding the zone.
See, a lot of people are making a really, really big thing about this. And they're saying that it was reported. Why they didn't publicly tell people, maybe they wanted to treat it as a search and rescue. Had these people stopped and said, oh, it's a submersible, I mean, I don't know, would they have found them faster or not? It's better to treat it as a search rescue anyway, to be sure. Because if these people just stopped and said, oh, we're not going to search above the water, we're just going to go straight down, then these people would have been complaining, oh, but what did this and that? You know, damn if you don't. They said it was some sort of top secret scanner too, or some sort of sonar thing. I don't know if that's true, but I just don't see why people are so, I don't know, going crazy about this sonar thing.
Can treat this as a search and rescue, flooding the zone, of course, with ships just in case anybody survived. And by the way, those sounds that they were hearing on Wednesday, on Thursday, they didn't know what they were. They thought maybe it was tapping. They now say it had nothing to do with the missing sub. It's
really tough to say because I mean, you could argue, oh, well, they wouldn't have had to go to those tapping sounds, but I think still they would have wanted to go. And they still would have wanted to be sure. I mean, you can't just rule things out. And then, I don't know, then people were saying, oh, you're taking hope away from the family by telling them. And I don't know.
It's likely just some of the loud noise you hear all the time in the ocean. Hoda.
All right. And well, Tom, going forward then, who's in charge of this investigation and what will they be focusing on?
Okay. And this guy, too. I like watching this guy, but he was kind of like, the U.S. Navy allegedly knew the submarine imploded Sunday.
Now finding this out. So why are we just now finding this out?
Dun, 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 dun. But this guy commented, I actually did like this comment. The U.S. Navy would need to clear info with the public through JAG, and if detection equipment was deemed top secret, the DOJ or administrative branch would have to give the green light on that. I don't know. No excuses. I don't know. People happy, people not happy. I don't know. It doesn't change the outcome at all. They were killed pretty instantly. It says here too. I think I took a picture of this. BL sent this to me. We can get a closer look at this. U.S. Navy detected an anomaly that was likely the Titan's implosion. The AP reports the Navy went back and analyzed its acoustic data after the Titan submersible was reported missing Sunday. That anomaly was consistent with an implosion or explosion in the general vicinity where the Titan submersible was operating when communications were lost. According to the senior Navy official, the official spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive acoustic detection system. The Navy passed on the information to the Coast Guard, which continued its search. So it says they passed on the information. I guess people are upset that they didn't tell the public. It's I don't know. That's a finicky thing. They did pass on the information. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? JJ said, I think people are too entitled to others' information. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they passed that information to the family or not. What is it going to do for us over here sitting behind our computers or phones, whether they tell us now or not? Like, I don't know, right? I mean, but yeah, I don't know. They said they passed it on. So, and they said it was some sort of sensitive acoustic detection system. So maybe there is clearances. Maybe there's certain things. Maybe they don't want their location to be known. Other countries are watching this story too. I don't know. I don't know. So many maybes and ifs. Okay, let's get to this too. Keep it moving. The public's just nosy. Yeah. Coast Guard didn't get a call for 8 hours. How would they know it was a tourist trip? How would they know it was a tourist trip? Because they had no proof, only a sound on Sunday. Yeah. Friend of OceanGate CEO heard cracking on the Titan.
And near at the same time, sub owner and a deep sea sub owner. Carl, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kelly.
So we've been in communication with you for days, but you didn't want to speak out publicly until you had a better idea of what happened. We respect that. What has been your takeaway?
I mean, my immediate thought when I heard that they lost comms and tracking, any submarine has backup power for those things, and there's no other. I asked a lot of experts, give me another explanation why they lose tracking and comms and would not surface except implosion. And nobody had an explanation. I came up with one idea 2 days later. Give me another explanation why they lose tracking and comms and would not surface except implosion. And nobody had an explanation. I came up with one idea 2 days later, actually while I was 2,000 feet underwater, that possibly if they had been aiming directly for the ship and landed directly into it, they could have been trapped in the ship, and the ship itself could have been blocking their sound waves from their transducer. That was basically the only two possibilities for explaining the facts as they were. Of course, now we know that it imploded.
So you felt
well with that too. I mean, they lost communication 2 hours in, but they do say that losing communication is common, happens all the time. But yeah, it didn't sound good when halfway through that was it. And then the fact that they didn't float back up, even because supposedly there's a fail safe that even if everybody's incapacitated, I don't know how many hours, I think after 14 hours it's supposed to float up.
Felt that survival was slim. We understand. You also thought the Titan was flawed and even went as far back as to warn Stockton. You went as far as to warn him about it. What was your thinking? What did you think was wrong with the sub?
Gavin Newsom.
Well, first of all, I don't remember exactly when I met Stockton. It was probably about 10 years ago. And when I learned that he wanted to do this, I was very excited about it. I believed in his mission. I liked him as a friend. And I told him, I want to go down in that thing one day. And what do I need to do? And I actually went out to his Everett facility and gave him a week of free labor, paid for my own airfare, hotel and everything. And just for the chance to get a seat on that sub, because I knew it was, it's a very rare opportunity. And I was actually on the second deep dive that Titan did in the Bahamas. The first dive, Stockton did himself, and he heard the carbon fiber making cracking sounds, and he told us all before dive number 2 to be prepared for that. And while we were down there, he actually let me drive, and I feel a little bit, he wanted me to be in control of my own destiny, not that he knew there was risk involved at that stage.
That's the thing too, sometimes, because people, they get a high and adrenaline off of this shit. It's like a high. It's like, I want you to be in control of your destiny, control a submersible. Even though he said that it doesn't take like somebody that knowledgeable to drive the thing. But this guy has his own sub too, though, I guess. So this guy has heard cracking before. Stockton. Bruh!
And he told us all before dive number 2 to be prepared for that. And while we were down there, he actually let me drive, and I feel a little bit, he wanted me to be in control of my own destiny, not that he knew there was risk involved at that stage. And at one point, I was actually even able to drive the submarine towards deeper water by the sound of the cracking getting louder. And somewhere I have video of it, actually. But the...
What? Find the video! Somewhere? That's crucial. I want to see that. I mean, or give it to the experts or the people. That could be a clue.
Carbon fiber is an amazing material, and it was 5 inches thick. So, and he had done model testing, and I had faith in, imagine like a piece of wood breaking. If you do it very slowly and controllably, you're going to hear a lot of cracking before the beam just completely breaks. I thought it was that kind of situation, and he did too. That's why he felt that his real-time monitoring was the answer to
real-time monitoring. It's like what the other guy kind of talked about that we were listening to, but the other guy was saying that like there really is no like a slow cracking over time that you hear it. Well, apparently with this, if it was maybe he was right. Maybe he just ignored it. On the second trip, it was making cracking sounds or whatever sound. But with this other guy we were listening to, he's like, there's no in between. It's either it's safe structure or that shit, boom, imploding. There's no like, I don't know.
Knowing when the hull would be approaching failure and not just having a couple pieces of carbon fiber in there breaking. But I believe what happened, and a lot of other experts, I'm hearing this across the board, over time, the water got where the flange was, because where the titanium meets the carbon fiber, those materials are moving at different in different ways under those enormous pressures. 125 million pounds of pressure on that vessel at that depth.
Thank you for watching.
Wow. That I haven't seen that before. This clip, that whole thing, and this guy talking about, yeah, there was cracking before. Damn.
And he heard the carbon fiber making cracking sounds, and he told us all before dive number 2 to be prepared for that. And while we were down there, he actually let me drive, and I feel a little bit, he wanted me to be in control of my own destiny, not that he was.
40 minutes. Bet you somebody clips that before I get to clip it for later. Okay, so Rachel, thank you for the email. Appreciate that. 2542. There was this other clip from WFLA.
Right now, today, new listening devices that detected the implosion.
In the U.S. Navy defending our nation much of that time under the sea on 6 different submarines. He has a unique perspective on what may have happened to the Titan. As the world listened for any news about the submersible Titan, the U.S. Navy had already heard a noise consistent with its implosion. At the very moment, Titan lost contact with its support ship.
They knew something happened. They didn't know what.
Wayne Fernandez is a retired U.S. Navy captain who once commanded the USS Skate, the 3rd nuclear-powered submarine in the world. He's not surprised the Navy picked up the sound.
The Navy has underwater detection systems, acoustic detection systems, to detect enemy submarines.
Fernandez believes repeated dives to the deep depths of the Titanic likely led to the failure of the Titan.
You can only cycle it so many times before it's going to fail.
There was no question in my mind.
James Cameron, the director of the movie Titanic, who is a history buff and a man who's made deep ocean dives himself, says the Titan should have had more oversight.
So OceanGate shouldn't have been doing what it was doing.
Cameron says other commercial operators joined to write a letter warning OceanGate about the dangers.
Yeah, we're going to get into that letter too. All right, so yeah, let me do this timestamp here real quick.
Live on WFLA now.
25 minutes, 42 seconds. Let's check it out real quick. 25 minutes, 42 seconds. And by the way, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me Friday night. I appreciate it. If you could hit the like button. And in a little bit, we're going to do some calls too. If people want to call, either talk about the sub or they just want to share the time they almost died, near-death experience.
A tick. I can't help but think about what the final moments were like. I can't. If I'm thinking of Dawood, according to his family, was terrified and going to be and makes going to sound like a dumb question, but I know that Father's Day is very much celebrated here in the United States.
Right.
I don't know
Is
if
it
that's
celebrated where. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether or not that's a bit as big of a deal around the world as it is. Walt, you're a father. Father's Day
Celebrated? Is that the holiday we're talking? It's a good question about is it celebrated everywhere? But yeah,
over the course.
I think to go, JB, I think to go to both of your concerns, Walt, your concerns are when and where. And that relates closely to my number one question of what element failed to cause this. And it may take finding that out before we know where and when exactly in the descent this implosion happened. But we also might be able to find out the where and when pretty quickly from the acoustic recordings that have been made. And as they're more fully analyzed, we may be able to get, we may be able to get a rough depth. We may be, we should be able to have a GMT timing on it. So I think the people that are in charge already know the when. Now, where was the vehicle in its descent when it happened? We should be able to find out relatively soon. But again, the answer to that question may not come until we find out what element it was that failed.
Mark, out of curiosity, and I say situations like this, I don't know if there are many, but I've covered.
Fortunately, they're few.
Right. So I've covered planes that were summoned by bits and pieces. It was found things on the shore, given them to the NTSB. But in a case like this, there's
aft pieces that are cut in half and made out of mesh.
25 minutes.
They'll lower them down on the crane. The ROVs will pick up the pieces that are small enough for them to pick up. They'll hook up the crane to the larger pieces. They'll put them in those baskets and they'll bring them up. And once they have everything that they can find, once they're satisfied that they've recovered every usable piece of evidence that they can, and that any more searching is doesn't meet the risk reward kind of matrix for it, and they'll start putting it back together. This section missing, that might actually, hopefully there's enough pieces, and maybe if there aren't enough, maybe if there is a particular section missing, that might actually be the clue to, oh, that's what failed. That's why it's not here, because
that's interesting.
That's the element that gave up. So now it's in such small pieces, we're never going to find it. So and that happens with aircraft as well. Oh, we have everything from this wrecked airplane except this part. And it would make the same mentality. They're going to go through a very similar process. We didn't have much idea of what was going on or what to expect. So how long was it before they decided they needed to drop ballast to the point of implosion? Maybe that was a minute and a half. Maybe it was 4 minutes before they was going. Three of them. To JB's question of how,
let me rewind it.
How long were they panicked? Three of them really didn't have much idea of what was going on or what to expect. So how long was it before they decided they needed to drop ballast to the point of implosion? Maybe that was a minute and a half. Maybe it was 4 minutes. Maybe it was 20 seconds. We don't have a timeline yet. If it was less than a couple of minutes, those three probably didn't have time to get into a panic mode because they didn't realize how dire the situation might have been. Okay, they know that we're trying to drop ballast, but okay, we're supposed to be able to drop ballast. So by doing that, maybe we fix what's wrong. And then, at some point,
I haven't heard from anybody to say that they dropped ballast. Is he just guessing? I don't know. I haven't heard anywhere that they said that they dropped the ballast. That's really weird. I don't.
To JB's question of how long were they panicked? Three of them really didn't have much idea of what was going on or what to expect. So how long was it before they decided they needed to drop ballast to the point of implosion? Maybe that was a minute and a half. Maybe it was 4 minutes. Maybe it was 20 seconds.
Maybe
we don't have a timeline yet.
That's really weird. I don't know. That is super weird because everybody that I've heard talk about it, he said maybe. Okay, everybody that I heard talk about it said it would have been instantaneous. I don't know. That's okay, Rachel. Don't worry about it. It's all good. He's just talking, all right? Okay.
Sub imploded. It probably happened so quickly that the people inside weren't even aware of it. And this is
but it's still weird for this guy to talk about it like that, because I haven't heard one person say they would have had time to react and drop the ballast and they were aware of what was going on or whatever. That's the first person I heard say out of everybody they had 3 minutes. I guess he's speculating, whatever. 3 minutes and whatever. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
This was something the Navy found out, or at least talked about, when we lost 2 nuclear submarines, Thresher and Scorpion, which also imploded at depths, and that the transmission of your nerve. I'm not a doctor, but basically knowing that you're dying or dead happens so slowly compared to what biological dying, that your brain doesn't even receive the message in time. You're already biologically dead. So you're really not aware of it. It's not.
That's pretty interesting too. The whole death thing and your brain response.
Not only dying instantly, it's dying almost without you're even being aware of it. You're gone.
I suppose
he has friends on the mothership. Kayla says if you listen to the entire interview, he said they don't know how long, but they communicated they were trying to drop weight. Oh, okay. When they release a statement as to what the last communication was, then we'll know more. Okay. So he has friends with them. James Cameron said was the other place I heard it. So maybe that is a thing. I don't know. They communicated they were trying to drop weight. Okay. I would need like specific timestamps because I can't sit and play a bunch of WFLA.
In all of this tragedy, that is, it's better to hear that it would be a quick death than the horrible, insufferable death that.
Unless they heard cracking. If that is true, if that's one of the theories being talked about, maybe he did hear cracking before it fully gave. Dropping weight was too slow. The descent. Oh, Jerome says dropping weight was to slow the descent.
We were all imagining could have been happening as the air ran out. I want to play something that Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate and who was piloting this submersible, what he said to a YouTuber who took this trip. He talked about how he wanted history to remember him, admitting that he broke some rules when he built the submersible. Let's listen to it together. I want to ask you after we listen.
Rachie, it's okay.
I'd like to be remembered as an innovator. I think it was General MacArthur said, "You're remembered for the rules you break." And I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did. It's picking the rules that you break that are the ones that will add value to others and add value to society. And that really, to me, is about innovation. It's taking...
I mean, I think I get it. I mean, I get what he's saying, but I guess he wanted to maybe to defy the laws of, I don't know, society or what people tell you is acceptable. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe there's a reason for it, I guess, right?
It's not invention. Innovation is when you take an invention and you make it, accepted broadly, and maybe think of ocean exploration the way everybody thinks of space exploration, because this is where we're going to find.
Joe Monkey says, Ikemel, whatever their last communication was, is that they were descending faster than expected, thus she dropped the weight. Okay.
Find the strange new life forms, and the future of mankind is underwater. It's not on Mars. We're not going to have a base on Mars or the moon. We'll try, we'll waste a lot of money. We will have a base underwater.
Damn.
Captain, he mentions I broke some rules, carbon fiber and titanium. That's a rule, you don't do that. Is this the end of that kind of design? Or is this perhaps an accident that will improve design for the future?
Well, in my view, it's probably the end of that direction in using that kind of material and that kind of process to build a pressure hull. It's been tried over the years. There have been several instances where unmanned deep water devices have been fabricated out of the wound filament or fibers. And there is even the British company Slingsby in 1978, I believe, built a fairly shallow depth manned submersible out of a fiber type hull structure. Probably not the same, because I think what OceanGate used was a very strong, probably carbon fiber material, because they were working with Boeing. And of course, every time you fly in a 787, you're in an airplane that's made out of these kinds of fibers. So I think that's
the air pressure is different though, right? I wonder what the difference is, like the air pressure versus like underwater. Definitely not the same amount of pressure, right? Yeah, y'all flying in carbon fiber. I've been kind of dreading a little bit that flight now. That flight to Orlando, because I've been watching too many of these videos. I've been watching all these. I got so much crazy stuff popping up now in my algorithm. And I was going to take a little small plane to Orlando, but I'm thinking of switching flights because I'm thinking my chances are better on a commercial plane. I've been watching too many small planes crash. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you guys think. Should I switch the shit? Maybe I should get on a commercial flight, bro.
I think it's a
fly for an hour. I think the flight's like an hour or something.
Line of evolution that's not worth pursuing. That's not to say you might not try it. There's a lot of engineers doing it. You know, our big objection, I've talked about it with you before, is not that he was doing experimental stuff, but that he was taking members of the public on an experimental device. And he has, you know, the waiver you signed, he freely admits it. I mean, people signed on, paid their money, and took their chances. He was lucky for 2 seasons on Titanic, and
can I Uber?
His 3rd season.
Can I Uber up to Orlando? I don't want to drive. I don't like driving.
I'm not lucky.
Commercial,
yeah,
right?
I think there were something like 46 or 49.
Especially now that you guys are saying it, man.
9, successful missions in the last 2 years, or at least in the data 2021 and 2022. Thank you for watching.
What if I switch and it's the commercial? That'd be some shit, right? You guys will remember this conversation. I gotta stop talking like that. Final Destination in my head and shit. Commercial, right? Yeah, fuck that, yo. I'll take whatever. Take commercial my ass up there. Let me skip around here. Okay. Let's do this. So this is a letter from industry experts sent to OceanGate CEO 5 years ago, urging him to do more testing. I'm just going to read the highlights because kind of got to get moving to calls eventually. Let me just do the highlights on this. I think a lot of people have seen this, so I don't need to like do the whole thing. Don't need to do the whole thing. Okay, dear Stockton, this letter is sent on behalf of our industry members. I'll just skip to the OceanGate part. OceanGate could result in negative outcomes from minor to catastrophic that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry. Your marketing material advertises that the Titan design will meet or exceed DNV GL safety standards, yet it does not. It does not appear that OceanGate has the intention of following DNV GL class rules. Your representation is at minimum misleading to the public and breaches an industry-wide professional code of conduct we all endeavor to hold up. We do all agree that a performance-based testing program for design verification is a recognized and valid approach to new technologies. However, we recommend that at minimum, you institute a prototype testing program that is reviewed and witnessed by DNV, GL, or ABS. While this may demand additional time and expense, it is our unanimous view that this validation process by a third party is a critical component in the safeguards that protect all submersible occupants. So they tried warning them. We know that. We also know about this lawsuit. Okay, this guy that David Lockridge. I mean, we got the whole. I'm not gonna go through all this right now because I just don't have time. But there's the whole. I think I don't know if this is OceanGate plaintiff, David Lockridge defendants, and it kind of goes into all this stuff. But for brevity, we'll just go here. The Titan submersible later vanished with 5 people on board. Andrew Lockridge, the former head of marine operations at OceanGate, claims the firm fired him after raising safety concerns. In 2018, OceanGate filed a lawsuit against David and his spouse, Carol Lockridge, in the Western District of Washington. According to court records, he submitted a counterclaim for wrongful termination and violation of public policy. So they fired his ass because he spoke out about this shit. In the counterclaim, Lockridge is described as a whistleblower employed in good standing before writing an inspection report in 2018 that raised issues with a submersible. In his counterclaim to OceanGate, because he counterclaimed to them, the OceanGate's lawsuit, Lockridge claims he was asked to write an OceanGate Cyclops 2 quality control inspection report, which the Titan was originally called OceanGate Cyclops 2. Rush is one of the 5 people aboard the missing Titan sub on January 18, 2018. Titan was vanished on June 18, 2023, while diving to examine the Titanic shipwreck, which was originally named Cyclops 2. OceanGate summarily terminated David's employment because he raised critical safety concerns regarding OceanGate's experimental and untested design of the Titan, which is so crazy. And this is what I talk about sometimes. I've talked about this in my members area. Sometimes something you think could be horrible or whatever, like losing your job, being fired, or some kind of setback, could actually be a blessing in disguise. Because would this guy have just shut up and said okay and gone with the flow, he probably would have been on that sub right now that imploded. Lockridge's counterclaim in the lawsuit claims that Lockridge was hired to ensure the safety of all crew and clients during submersible and surface operations. The New York Post claims that Lockridge wasn't the only person to voice concerns. The Marine Technology Society stated that its members have collectively expressed unanimous concern regarding the development of Titan and the planned Titan expedition. So it says here, David Lockridge Titanic submersible case update. Documents reveal that the business whose submersible was lost in the North Atlantic during a tourist dive in near the Titanic ruins was repeatedly warned that the manner it was constructed could pose catastrophic safety issues. Operated by OceanGate Expeditions, the Titan has 5 personnel aboard and is being searched for. We know all this stuff. Okay. According to Lockridge, the business informed him that no technology was available to conduct this test on the hull's 5-inch thick carbon fiber. Okay. Hold on, we missed some stuff here. Okay. If the Titan were still operating, there would have been decreasing amounts of oxygen on board. Since 2021, the Everett, Washington-based undersea exploration business has visited the Titanic annually. Although the vessel was not located, the company's decision to rely on sensitive acoustic monitoring, cracking or popping sounds produced by the hull under pressure, rather than a hull scan, raised worries for Lockridge. So instead of relying on acoustic monitoring, I guess they relied on popping and cracking sounds. Amazing. So the business informed him that no technology was available to conduct the test on the hull's 5-inch thick carbon fiber. Society members expressed concern in a letter the New York Times obtained. The current experimental approach adopted by OceanGate could result in negative outcomes that would have serious consequences for everyone in the industry, which it probably will. All right. I want to get this video, which I can't play it on the screen. We'll listen to it. But let's do this here real quick too. Titanic sub implosion. Billionaire offered last-minute price tickets, discount shit, for doomed voyage, but pulled out over schedule clash. Yeah, so he got a discount offer. Okay, in St. John's, I forget what NO means again. What does that mean? Newland or something? In St. John's, Newland, I think, with sub in good shape for this year. How about you? All good was in Bel Air yesterday, back in Vegas today. Hi, can we push back 30 minutes? I'm running over, no problem. Sorry, still going. Another 15 mins. Okay, good to go. Have space on mission 1 May 11th through the 19th, and 2, May 20th through the 28th. Last minute price is $150K PP per person, maybe. So he's offering him a discount. All right, you get that discount, $150K. Jay Bloom has shared some of his text messages with Stockton Rush, who was on the doomed vessel and founded the company which ran the expedition. Messages from February reveal Mr. Bloom's son was scared to go on the deep sea dive because one of his friends had researched what could go wrong and put a scare on him. These concerns included whether a sperm whale. Now, the whale thing, I remember some people, Newfoundland, thank you. The whale thing people had actually mentioned that. And I don't know, people kind of saw it as a joke, but I guess it's a reality. Maybe we need to look into that. Have any of these giant animals ever attacked the submersible? Kind of curious. Has a submarine ever been attacked? Let's see, by squid? Squid attacks submarine in Bering Sea. Giant squid captured on video attacking submarine. What? Hell no.
Remarkable stuff here, captured for the first time ever on video. The giant squid in its natural habitat. The mysterious creature can grow to 50 feet long with eyes the size of dinner plates. It took a Japanese film crew hundreds of tries at depths of 3,000 feet or more before these remarkable images could finally be captured. All part of a Discovery Channel special later this month. Of course, after yesterday's news of the baby giant squid in this one, I will be rethinking my...
I don't know. Bering Sea Canyons attacked by squid's cousin. The crack. What? I don't know. I think this is too much of a. What are the chances a giant squid grabbed? I don't know. This is too much of a mess right now. I don't think we can veer into this. They said this one says it was. This here says the legendary giant squid has been captured on video. A joint effort between the Discovery Channel and the Japanese broadcasting company put the creature on film. They spent over 400 hours in a research vessel. According to the website scuttlefish.com, Tsunami Kobodera and his team spotted a squid roaming the depths of the sea and then attacking the sub they were in. I don't know. Anyway, so these concerns included a sperm whale could attack the sub, or a giant squid can compromise the hull. Isn't that like shit we see in the movies or cartoons? Yeah, very, very stupid. The pressure is over 100 million pounds. No sperm whale or squid is ever going to be able to mess with the sub. While there's obvious risk, it's way safer than flying it in a helicopter or even scuba diving. There hasn't been even an injury in 35 years in a non-military sub. I'll send you an email with what happened when a swordfish attacked Alvin. So he's over here like convincing them. No, you're safe, man. It's safer than going in a helicopter, scuba diving. You're good. Any progress? FYI, deepest depth for a sperm whale is less than 3,000 meters, and we are larger than its mouth can open. But that is one of the things some people were saying, oh, it's swallowed by a whale, but I think the sperm whale, like the mouth is big, but the throat is small or something like that. Can sperm whale... Well, it says here, sperm whales are the only species with throats large enough to technically swallow a human. The 6 foot long mammals have large enough esophagus to feed on larger prey, such as giant. Okay, maybe that's the only whale that could swallow a human. It's physically possible for a sperm whale to swallow a human whole, as they're known to swallow giant squid whole. However, such a person would be crushed, drowned, or suffocated in the whale's stomach. Damn. Okay. Okay, so any progress? It says not yet. I'm really concerned about getting eaten by a whale. I'll set up a Skype call to answer questions. Damn. Mr. Rush said such criticism was uninformed and really stupid because the vessel would be traveling at depths where sperm whales aren't found. And the CEO went on to insist that the submersible, which had not received international certification, was way safer than flying a helicopter or even scuba diving. At the end of March, Mr. Rush once again contacted Mr. Bloom to ask whether he wanted to receive reserved spots. And a month later, the entrepreneur offered last-minute prices. Damn, so he's offering discounts to get on this shit. The tickets eventually went to businessman Shahzada. Oh, wow. Shahzada Dawood and his teenage son Suleiman. Wow. That is crazy. So this guy, he could have been dead. He could have been one of the people on that shit. You gotta be careful too, man. That's the whole thing. Saying no when you don't feel comfortable with something. People try to pressure you. Oh, you're stupid. Blah, blah, blah. You know?
About that, but I think I was unaware that they weren't certified because I wasn't really studying it. I wasn't really interested. Stockton Rush asked me if I wanted to go out there and dive this season. You know, I wasn't interested. There was a lot of concern about this outfit and this sub. A lot of concern, even to the extent that I wasn't involved in it because I was making Avatar 2 at the time, but a lot of them got together and wrote a letter to OceanGate and said, you have to certify. You cannot take people down. It's irresponsible, and it could lead to catastrophe. Monday morning, when I first found out about the incident, got on a whole bunch of calls and emails. It's a small community. Within an hour and a half, I had the following information. They were on descent. They were at 3,500 feet. Ooh. They lost comms and tracking. The last one being the critical one, because the transponder that's used to track a sub during descent and on the bottom is a fully autonomous system. It's in its own pressure housing, and it has its own battery power. So for them to lose comms and tracking at the same time, sub was gone. There was no question in my mind. For days, I tried to run other scenarios that could account for it. I could come up with nothing. So the next thing I did was contacted a few more people and managed to track down, there are acoustic networks around. Some are research, some are intelligence. We got confirmation within an hour that there had been a loud bang at the same time that that comms were lost. A loud bang on the hydrophones. Loss of
So see, he knew, I guess, right? Is that what he's saying?
Transducer. We got confirmation for research. Some are intelligence. Network, and managed to track down. There are acoustic networks around. So the next thing I did was correct. No question in my mind. For days, I tried to run other scenarios that could account for it. I could come up with nothing.
Except for days, so maybe it was...
So the next thing I did was contacted a few more people and managed to track down, there are acoustic networks around. Some are research, some are intelligence. We got confirmation within an hour that there had been a loud bang at the same time that that comms were lost. A loud bang on the hydrophones. Loss of transducer or transponder. Loss of comms. I knew what happened. Sub imploded. I sent emails to everybody I know. I said, we've lost some friends. The sub has imploded. It's on the bottom in pieces right now. I sent that out Monday morning.
Oh, you did that on Monday morning? Oh. Because we found out So he must have known within the people that he knows personally, I guess. I wasn't sure because I was a little confused with the verbiage. He knew Monday.
I never believed in that technology of wound carbon fiber, wound filament cylindrical hull. I thought it was a horrible idea. I wish I'd spoken up, but I assumed somebody was smarter than me.
If you spoke up, they would have came for your ass too, like they did the other guy. Try to sue his ass and everything.
Because I'd never experimented with that technology, but it just sounded bad on its face.
Well, probably not. And the other guy was actually employed with them.
Because we make pressure hulls out of contiguous material: steel, titanium, ceramic, acrylic. And so you can model it. You can do finite element analysis of it. And, you understand the yield properties. You understand the number of cycles that it can take. But you can't do that with a composite material because it's two dissimilar materials, sort of bonded together. And so we all knew that the danger was delamination and progressive failure over time with microscopic water ingress and fatigue, what they call cycling fatigue. And we knew that if the sub passed its pressure test, it wasn't going to fail on the first dive. It might fail on dive 7, or I don't know what they're at, but it's going to fail over time, which is insidious. You don't get that with steel or with titanium. Now there's one wreck lying next to the other wreck for the same damn reason.
Wow. We'll get to this part later where they're defending him. This part here I want to play, but it has to be like, I guess, in the back.
Clear.
Process. Now, the BBC has been exclusively given an email exchange between Stockton Rush, that's the CEO of OceanGate, who died in the incident, and a leading deep water exploration specialist, Rob McCallum. So let's take a look at them. So this was an email sent in 2018. Rob McCallum warned Stockton Rush, "I have given everyone the same honest advice, which is that until a sub is classed, tested and proven, it should not be used for commercial deep dive operations." He went on, "As much as I appreciate entrepreneurship and innovation, you are potentially putting an entire industry at risk. So I implore you to take every care in your testing and sea trials and to be very, very conservative." Now, a few days later, OceanGate's Stockton Rush replied, "I've grown tired of industry players who try to use a safety argument to stop innovation and new entrants from entering their small existing market." He told Rob McCallum, "Since Guillermo, the former co-founder of OceanGate, and I started OceanGate, we've heard the baseless cries of 'you are going to kill someone' way too often. I take this as a serious personal insult."
Wow. You hear that? What? That's just crazy, man. It's so crazy how things can come back for you, right? He wrote back to this guy. So this guy was, what is he? This guy was Rob McCallum, founder of EYSO Expeditions. And he sent this guy his safety concerns. And he wrote back, "I've grown tired of the industry players who try to use a safety argument to stop innovation and new entrants from entering their small existing market." I guess he's talking about like the 50-year-old white guys, in his words. "Since Guillermo and I started," who's Guillermo? "Since Guillermo and I started OceanGate, we have heard this baseless cries of 'you're going to kill someone' way too often." Wow. Maybe it's one of the college kids he took on. Damn.
Of "you are going to kill someone way too often. I take this as a serious personal insult." Now, the next day, Rob McCallum replied in the starkest terms, "I think you are potentially placing yourself and your clients in a dangerous dynamic. Ironically, in your race to Titanic, you are mirroring that famous catch cry, 'she is unsinkable.'"
No! This is from 2018. I gotta show you the screenshot. Wow, like this guy called it. Oh my God, I wonder what this guy's thinking now. Wow. Oh shit. I don't know what I'm doing with this damn app. Wow. And this guy's being professional. I mean, not that, I mean, Stockton's reply was like he was really more offended and stuff. This guy was really just legitimately trying to look out. I think you are potentially placing yourself and your clients in a dangerous dynamic. Ironically, in your race to the Titanic, you are mirroring that famous catch cry, "She is unsinkable." Dude, people have been talking to him about this for years. That is crazy. And just kind of crazy, like in your race to the Titanic, you're mirroring that famous catchphrase, "She's unsinkable." Wow, that's. Whew. I gotta clip that too. That is, oh man. It seems like his ego maybe got the best of him too.
Now, OceanGate's lawyers then contacted Rob McCallum and threatened legal action.
What? That's what somebody was saying. Airdrie said that. That's what I'm saying. If you speak up against these people, they come for you. That's, I mean, I don't know, bro.
Today, we have contacted them again, and they say they have no additional
you ain't got shit to say now.
Callum maintains that no one should have gone in this submersible. Well, this morning, we heard from William Conan, chairman of the US Marine Technology Society Manned Underwater Vehicles Committee. In 2018, he and other engineers wrote a letter to Stockton Rush warning of the dangers of using an uncertified
another person
craft.
Or is this the committee?
This was clearly preventable. We do have regulations.
As part of the committee.
I think the issue has to come out here is that as an industry, and look, we make submersibles. We've been making submersibles here in Los Angeles for 30 years. There's some of the best submarines in the world. There is order in the industry. There are ways to be clever and go around things. So for sure, it needs to be clear that a submersible like this, of what they were doing for tourism, would not be allowed in U.S. waters. The Coast Guard would not allow it. It would not be allowed to work in British coastal waters because it would have required it to be certified. Same thing in Canada. And then turns out that they operated in international waters where no Coast Guard has jurisdiction. Right. Well, you found two loopholes. And let's just say it wasn't very wise.
Wow. Well, the director of the film Titanic, James Cameron, completed 33 dives to the site, and here's what he said.
You know, the community, our community of deep ocean engineers spoke out against it quite loudly, and the warnings were unheeded.
Now, before these developments, the co-founder of OceanGate spoke to the BBC and rejected claims that they had cut any corners.
Any expert who weighs in on this, including Mr. Cameron, will also admit that they were not there for the design of the sub, for the engineering of the sub, for the building of the sub, and certainly not for the rigorous test program that the sub went through.
An investor in OceanGate who previously made the same trip, Aaron Newman, told the BBC that the idea that Stockton Rush did anything wrong was disingenuous.
There's a lot of people coming out to defend him too, and they're saying it's wrong. I'm not sure why it's wrong to even speak about it. It seems like even if you spoke about it before, people were getting sued left and right, fired, treated like shit. I mean, I'm not saying to crap on the guy. He's deceased, but like, I don't know. You couldn't talk about it before, and you still can't talk about it now. Like, what? I don't get that. So just what? More people die or whatever? Like, I mean, Jesus Christ.
He was doing something
far beyond what anybody else.
But I guess the argument you could make is, hey, these people signed the waiver too. You know, I don't know, man. I guess they knew the risk and stuff. I mean, or maybe they didn't really know the risks. I guess it just really goes to show when you're doing these things. I guess you really have to research. I mean, like this other guy that we saw with the text messages, even though he was worried about getting swallowed by a whale or something, that's the least of his worries, really. He would have been on that trip.
Had like the sub that he built and was taking down there was a magnitude more advanced than, for instance, you look at the craft that James Cameron took down. That was a tiny little sub that one person laying flat in could operate.
Yeah, but he went down 3 times the depth of the Titanic. Yeah, it's a tiny sub. It's a one-person thing, but he went down 3 times the length. But I understand. I guess the Titan is like the only one like that could, I guess, carry 5 people.
So, you know, he introduced new ideas and new pieces that are not conventional, and some people don't like that.
Well, with more on the latest.
That doesn't age well, though, really.
From Boston, latest from where you are, what's happening now?
I think that was the first video.
Well, the biggest point of reference right now is these concerns about safety and this big conversation that's beginning to emerge. And I think it's interesting to look at a couple of points there. One of them is these concerns that are coming out now. So very experienced deep sea explorers like James Cameron, who
going hard.
Basically looked at the facts on the table and said, you know, he had some concerns about the design. He had some concerns about the material used. And then it's also interesting to look that many of these other concerns that were raised were about 5 years ago. So many of these, the email exchanges we just heard about, the letter sent to CEO Stockton Rush, that all took place in 2018. And of course, this was 5 years ago. It's also even a few years before the Titan made its first visit in 2021 to the shipwreck of the Titanic. So there were warnings even before this Titan vessel began making these dives about the experimental nature of it, about the shape, the design of the vessel itself, and all.
Yeah, even the shape and design.
So the material, the carbon fiber there. So that is definitely the conversation now on a day.
That's crazy, man. All right, so we can move on to the next thing. That was a really interesting video. Wow. That, to me, the whole thing of that guy was like, you're really doing the same thing as the Titanic, the unsinkable ship. Where are we at? 1 hour and 30 minutes? I don't know if we should just do calls now. I feel like we've covered so much. Okay, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And if you want to call, you can call. You can call if you want to talk about the sub thing, or you just want to share an experience, a life-altering experience, near-death experience. You could do that too. We haven't done the phone lines in a while. I don't remember the name of the app. She's gone, bro. I don't remember it. Boom, I haven't logged in here forever. I don't even know if I have credit on here. Okay, real. Let's do that. Let's do some calls Friday night. Because the other thing, too, is I want to get this stream moving in case we get a chase tonight and all that stuff, too. At least we have everything, like, wrapped up and done if we have to end it or whatever, you know. So let me get to the calls. It's Friday night, man. It could be a chase. Anything could happen. The Wild, Wild West. Boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Okay, yeah, let's do some calls and see what's up. Let's see. I think we got somebody already. But you got some? Is this Cheeks? Let's see. Cheeks.
Yes.
Oh, it is you. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was kind of like rolling the dice. You looks familiar.
Oh man, look at you! Look at that. You finally remember it. This whole thing is so wild. This thing is so wild. I have been watching it. I was talking to Debbie in the chat. I was like, this is like baby Jessica. Everybody everywhere was watching this thing. This
Oh
is
yeah,
wild.
the story.
This
Yeah,
isn't easy.
yeah. I was talking to my barber
This
today about it. He knew the thing too.
Yeah, see, everybody was watching this. I think that's why people are probably so upset they didn't get that full-time coverage. Like, we just heard a noise, and people rushing out there. But nonetheless, this is wild, and it's a very irrational fear of mine. I was like, this is so weird. And then you just confirmed it with this whale thing. Do whales really go that deep?
Well, there was an article that Mo sent me. I'm going to bring it up later. This guy that was actually swallowed by a whale.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stay on land. I'm 4'11". I'm short. I was made short for a reason. I like to stay on land. I got to be able to see. I just don't think there's things that we're just not supposed to, see and do and all that good stuff. But anyways, nonetheless, I just wanted to call because this is nutty. This is nutty, and I miss calling.
Yeah, I know it's been a while, right? I haven't done it in a while.
I know. I've
All in show.
MIA too, so it's so fun catching up on the lives and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been popping in more and more. I'm like, okay, cool beans. I'm looking at what I missed, what I love. But yeah, I'm not gonna tie up the line. I just wanted to call, say hi to everybody because I've been talking to everybody in the chat.
You ever had a near-death experience?
There was one time we caught a spin out on 95, and in the moment that happened, Karma was in the front seat, and she was like in the 3rd grade. And I just wasn't paying attention. Car hydroplaned, and then we ended up in a ditch. You never realize how quickly concrete and grass can kind of come flying at you until you're in that situation. Like I did the invisible mom seatbelt. She had her seatbelt on. But then when we finally stopped, we were in one of the little side ditches, and the one in South Florida, there's no water in it. It's not a retention. It's just all from the side. And all the traffic stopped. People came out and asked if we were okay. And I just got out of the car, and I was just shaking. And I'm looking at my kid, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? We drove around in that death trap, and my anxiety of driving in the rain was just unfathomable. I would leave 2 hours early for work. God forbid for it to rain. I don't like driving in the rain, so that gives me that because I just think about spinning out in that car. I don't know if it was near death because luckily everybody else was doing what they were supposed to do and I just was not paying attention and seatbelts weren't on and it was not a flooded, tunnel or a little trench sideways, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was scary enough. It's just certain things I just don't do because I'm I just have this irrational fear, this is going to kill me. I'm not bungee jumping. I'm not deep. I've never been on a cruise because the size of the ship, it's too much. I think it's overwhelming.
I started to watch I didn't get to watch I forgot which ship it was. Not Carnival. I don't know which one. Where they got stranded and they were all having to poop in these bags. I didn't get to see the whole thing. They were stuck for a really long time and all they kept doing is giving the customers alcohol because they didn't know what else to give them. You had a bunch of drunk people pooping in bags and stuff. I forgot which ship that was, but I was started to watch it, but I didn't get to finish it.
Yo, just like you, ever since this tragedies happened, random shit has been popping up on my suggestions, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm like a poop cruise. I'm like, God, I'm not even gonna watch that.
Poop cruise from hell.
Not even gonna watch that. Yeah, no, I literally
Carnival
only
Triumph.
just saw. Oh, okay. I've only recently saw the size of how big those ships were by accident, getting off, trying to get down to South Beach, and we took the cruise entrance, and we drove past one of the ships. I was like, there's no way in hell. No way in hell. I can't do it. Just certain things aren't for me. I'm going to stay on land. I just feel like as humans, our curiosity is going to kill us. And I don't know what kind of trip this man was on. He seems very egotistical, but if he wanted to ride that out, great. But this man took 4 other people and that 19-year-old, I couldn't even think about the fear that he had because for whatever reason, I have this irrational fear and I don't know what I would do. So, too much. But look, I'm not going to tie up the line.
Okay.
I am always in the chat. I do get your notifications sometimes. But normally I'm paying attention enough to see them. But I don't want to tie up the line. People get tired of me, but I just want to hop in and say hi. And of course, we'll continue talking. because I still need to see you at CrimeCon.
CrimeCon. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, we're gonna see each other.
I'm so excited about CrimeCon.
Me too.
There's so many of y'all that I'm going to be there and see. So very excited. But yes, answer more calls.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
I will
Bye,
see you in
Cheeks.
the chat.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
I hydroplaned one time too, a long time ago, many years ago. It was in my Toyota Corolla. I was on the turnpike, and I don't know what happened. We just went over this Maddie wasn't even born at the time. It was a really long time ago. I was actually with a group of friends. We're gonna go drive to play DDR at this other place. This I don't know. Yeah, and I hydroplaned. I hit like a sheet of water. I'm gonna take the next caller. Looks like long distance. Went over like a sheet of water, or what it was. I don't know, but we just it just went like sideways completely. Luckily, there wasn't any cars like really, really far away. My friends were like freaked out. They were like, "Oh shit, Mel!" I was just quiet and calm the whole time. I mean, I was freaking out inside, but I always in crazy shit like that, I just try to like keep my composure. I might be crazy in my head, but like I'm driving this shit. I can't be the one. And I'm the one driving. I gotta be fucking in control. So like I just spent the wheel back and like I got us in. I'm like I started laughing actually. I fucking started laughing on some Stockton shit. I started laughing. Anyway, all right, 880. Hello, who's this? Long distance caller.
Hello? No?
Hi, who's this?
Am I live?
You're live. Is this Luffy?
Yeah, Luffy.
Oh, still Luffy. I was about to
Hey,
click
man,
on you.
I'm live.
I thought there was going to be a troll. I had the finger on the drop call button, but okay. Luffy, what's up, man?
Dude, there's a delay here, so yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Not bad. Thanks for calling, bro.
Okay,
any thoughts with the story? Or if you want to share something?
Yeah. Yes, the more you're basically covering into this story, this is basically pissing me off even more and more. I mean, just yesterday I was reprimanding people for passing on memes and jokes regarding the sub.
Right.
This douche basically, took them. This douche took them into. Do you follow? The reason why I'm pissed off is, do you follow any form of motorsport, Formula One?
No, motorsports, not really. No.
In Formula One, apparently the term Formula One is you basically have the best of the best materials, the best engineers.
Oh, okay.
You throw a lot of money at it. So, and it's basically about getting the best out of your car or your team. The thing is, you use carbon fiber in places where you need to save weight. Oh, I studied architecture, by the way. So that's the other thing that pisses me off regarding regarding pressure and tensile strength and compressive strength as well.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Sorry?
Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. Compression is basically Google it, because I'm very bad with terms with that regard. Tensile strength and compressive strength.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber is really horrible with compression. It's horrible. And if you do dig up some videos regarding Formula One accidents, you'll see that you have like millions and millions of stuff basically flying all over if there's a crash.
Wow.
But the thing that's really good about carbon fiber is that
light.
The amount of it's very light, yeah, and it's a composite material. You basically need to like sandwich it. It's like layers of paper. If you have maybe like an inch worth, you know how a rim of A4 paper is really heavy once you start like stacking them.
Right.
Imagine that. So carbon fiber, what it does is basically it reduces that stack. It reduces the weight, not the stack. It creates that thickness, but it reduces the stack. So you have what's the word? Strength to weight ratio is like doubled. It's like spider silk. You know how spider silk is considered to be even more? It's considered to be even more stronger than steel.
Wow.
Spider silk. Yeah. So the thing is, the way the sub was designed, Bugatti apparently designed a rim that's a composite between carbon fiber and magnesium, and it's really lightweight. But if you try adding pressure to it on top, it's going to crack, it's going to fracture. So they need lots of, and I think it took like 10 years to basically do R&D on it, like research and development. And this douche apparently has 3 Logitech. Oh, by the way, okay, let me finish regarding the carbon fiber thing.
Okay.
I hope your stream doesn't get canceled. Can I explain the way they might have perished? The people
go ahead.
who passed away? I mean, if that is cool with it.
Cool.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go.
Because I don't want to, paint a graphic image here.
Go ahead.
With people and then it goes, all of them vomit.
I don't make sound effect. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you go through Formula One accidents, you'll see that the bits are basically flying all over the place. And what you usually have during those accidents is they either yellow flag it or they red flag it. Why is to clear the track of the debris. These debris, when carbon fiber breaks, it breaks into really sharp shards, like equivalent to like shards of glass. Wow. So you could puncture anything. Now I think you understand where I'm going.
Right.
Where I'm going with this is if this tubular structure did collapse. I mean, if it obviously imploded. That's what everyone's saying. When it imploded and the inner lining, which would have been carbon fiber, that would have basically been like really sharp objects and, punctured everyone.
Right.
So they would have liquefied. And what's even worse is they can't find these people. They won't be able to find these people because if you do a bit of digging regarding the nature or the wildlife at that depth, all these fish that you see down there, they have hardware to basically capture whatever they catch. Like if a fish is supposed to escape, it's probably going to be torn in half. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's bound. It's their hardware is designed to have the fish in their mouth, whatever they catch. And even if they don't catch it, you have other creatures who are basically feeding on flesh, like decomposing sharks, decomposing whales, you name it. And everything down there in that depth is bioluminescent. And they use that to catch their prey, like the anglerfish.
Oh, yeah.
The one that basically has a small light bulb in front of their head?
Yeah.
And yeah.
My friend sent me a picture of that thing.
Go ahead.
That was some anglerfish on shore. It's like, I was talking about this the other day. They're not even supposed to be, they can't survive in our atmosphere, pressure, or whatever. Like, they'd be dead up here.
No, they can't. They can't. In fact, if you compare all the wildlife and the creatures on top, like the surface dweller sort of stuff, or even fish that live just about a feet above the waterline, they're pretty. They're beautiful. They're colorful and everything. They use that to attract fish. The other half, best way of saying it. And down there, they don't need any pigmentation because that's a waste of resources.
Right.
Everything there is like pitch black. No one gets to see anything. Their eyes are literally, they're blind to pretty much anything else. So, sorry, you were saying I detracted you.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just showing them the picture because there's one that actually washed up shore. This one says in California. I don't even know how from all the way down there, but like it looks crazy as hell. It's just, I mean, I guess because it's in our environment now, it's all just like black. Just looks like black and creepy. I don't know.
That's another point as well. Because of the temperature changes as well as the water is being, all messed up and everything, you basically have these creatures wash up shore as well. They would have died somewhere or sometime anywhere. But yeah. And the other thing that did hit me was the design of the sub. If you do go back and look at the porthole, the hole that everyone is supposed to be looking through, that's wide compared to the size of the sub. So that would have been, well, technically that would have been a failure point, but then again, the entire sub itself was badly designed. Because they're saying there's titanium, there's carbon fiber. You don't use carbon fiber where you need a lot of compressive strength. You need carbon fiber where you need like saving weight as well as, what was the word? Tensile strength. You don't need carbon fiber where there's compressive strength. I mean, for all intents and purposes, obviously carbon fiber is expensive, but don't you think we would have actually pioneered that with like buildings and structures and high rises?
Right, we don't.
I mean, so that's not being used. Trevor, I don't know if you follow Trevor Noah, but Trevor Noah made this joke where you want to save toilet paper, use both sides, but then you start understanding, then you realize that you have shit on both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you, let me read this to you.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Right. Let me read this comment to you real quick.
Sorry?
The last Ronin said that I make pre-preg carbon fiber, foot plates, and leg braces. When it fails, it's catastrophic and sharp as razor blades on thin edges.
There you go.
Grumpy wants you to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
you.
You say happy birthday to Grumpy. Grumpy's up there saying happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. Sorry, I'm not following chat, by the way, because there's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay.
Obviously, because Mel almost banned me for being a troll.
Right.
It would have been another Alpha David situation. But Right. The other thing regarding the sub's design is if you study pretty much every other sub on the world, whether it's military class, whether it's deep sea exploration, they're designed in a way where they're supposed to they can handle the pressure from pretty much every angle, and they're reinforced in places where they need to be reinforced.
The shape, right?
Now, remember the Trieste that you were talking about? The Trieste sub? The one that had like ribbed design on it?
Yes.
If you go back, if you look at the images of the subs right now, as it's on display, you'll actually see stress fractures on the exterior. Like there are places where it looks like it got hit by a car.
The Titan. Talking about the Titan?
The Trieste. No.
Oh, the Trieste.
The sub that the Trieste, I think that's the spelling.
Wasn't this one of the first subs, or what's the story behind this one? I have the picture up now. The Trieste is the Swiss-designed, Italian-built deep diving research. Reached a record depth of 10,000.
And that's the one. That's the one that had like 5 inches worth of steel.
Oh, okay. And this was back in
5 inches.
On January 23rd, 1960.
Yeah, for the Mariana Trench. Yeah, way back.
Mm.
And if you go on Google Images, there's an image of the sub on display, and you literally see like stress fractures on the front or the sides. And all of that is due to stress fractures from the pressure in the water. There's silence. Are you there?
Yeah. No, I'm actually. I was looking at the picture.
Okay. I thought I lost you.
No, you're here. You're good.
So with that in mind, if they did try, obviously the design of the sub was like horrible, the Ocean Gate sub. But if they were trying to probably like, what doesn't make sense? The thing about the SOS signals, the Morse code with the SOS signals, it could have been a debris. If it imploded, the way they're saying it, if it imploded, then this was probably maybe a diversion, to keep people's mouth shut, if for lack of a better word. But if they did send out SOS, like if they did tap the hull of the sub, you're just creating more places for the pressure to like build up. You know what I'm saying? It's like puncture. It's like a needle trying to pierce the skin.
I'm looking at some of the images.
So that would have been
that you're talking about, and you can see like there's like some dents in it. It looks like on the side.
And all of those dents are because of like stress fractures from the ocean pressure.
Wow.
If you study how like hydroelectric dams, if you study the cross section of a dam, you'll see that the depth of the thickness of the dam actually increases as you go down. That's because the pressure of the water increases as you go further in depth.
Wow.
So this douche apparently charged $250,000. Got Logitech. I'm sorry for holding up the caller on the line. I'm really sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. There's one other person. Yeah.
The thing with the Logitech controllers is it's a decade-old controller.
Yeah, I know.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's fucked up? When it first came out, everyone wanted to buy it. Everyone did.
Yeah.
As soon as people bought them, they're like, the reception is fucked up. And you know what's even worse? Logitech are known to nuke their own stuff with their software. The Logitech gaming software, or whatever software the name is, their software nukes their own hardware. Oh. You get blue screens of death, you get failures, right, left, center, and this douche decided to like... Oh, by the way, the green button on the top right-hand corner of the sub when you
where
look
he turns it
into
on?
the sub?
I think that's the power on button, right? Or,
Yeah. It's actually what's it called? It's called anti-vandal switch. You see them on elevators. You see them on stop signs. In some stop signs. You can see them in
that's what it is?
areas. But the way this guy basically, yeah, it is. You even use them on PCs. You can find them on PCs.
Oh hell
no! I as soon as he said Camper World, I said, dude, this guy cut so many corners.
Wow.
But I tried keeping my composure because. You see, I understand everyone's memes, everyone's jokes. I tried my best to not say anything, honestly. But this guy literally took everyone down there. I mean, you know what's sad? You know what's really, really sad? These guys thought they'd find an adrenaline rush, but they found something else.
Right.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, you have these, yesterday's chase with the Jag, the F-type SVR. Dude, those cars are designed for the track. You don't drive them on the open road.
Oh yeah.
Even if you do, you need to have a certification that okay, in the event that there is a tire does blow out, if the car spins, I know how to basically get it back into spin it back into the right the right orientation. But they don't do that. They go on a highway and then they have this adrenaline rush and they're like, whoa, and besides the waiver that you read out, 3 pages of basically you say signing your life over.
Signing your life.
3 pages telling you sell your life over to us, and if there's any catastrophe or if there's any need for help, sorry, we can't help you. And you know what? I don't blame the other countries. I mean, I don't blame the USA for not going over to help them, because their contracts stipulate that you're not going to have any support here.
Yeah, it does.
It's weird, It's really, really weird.
Wow.
And it's even more heartbreaking when you played that video regarding the person in 2018.
Oh yeah.
Voicing his concerns.
Right.
And dude, 5 years ago, and then and to consider to think that James Cameron, well, he's been doing this from a very, very long time, with subs, with deep diving, and he's even signed off on. The other thing that I did mention regarding the porthole. If you study the other subs and look at the size of their hole, the portholes, the portholes,
it's small, right?
You see that their ports are so small compared to the entire sub.
This shit is huge. It's a big ass door on the side of the thing. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And it's even worse when you consider that. Yeah, and if you consider the size of the port, and then there's another dome on top of the port, the thing that basically bolts on. I have no idea how these guys got this certified or got a green light, because it's like, I mean, obviously they didn't, but they passed it off as they did, didn't they?
Right.
So the dome that they used to, latch it on together with apparently 17 bolts out of 18.
Yeah.
Which also doesn't make sense. That was probably one of the, I mean, in my opinion, I think that's where it would have, created what's the word? A stress point. But then again, the entire sub itself is badly designed. And then I went to the Logitech controllers. Dude, people in much more complicated subs that do go down all the way down there are so complex that you need one person to manage each stuff. This guy was the only person apparently captaining the ship, and you had like 5 other people who were like tourists, right?
Right.
And so-called this thing about, hey, you're in charge of your destiny. Hey, and I mean, I've seen this with like billionaires, millionaires. Apparently, I used to hang out with. So you give them like the steering wheel, and they think that okay, I'm in charge of what I'm doing right now. And when they come out of these, they're like, we should do this again sometime.
Right.
And when they say that, it means that okay, I'm ready to invest. You know what I'm saying? So this guy was like, doing his like marketing scheme on the run.
That's what it was too. It was like a marketing
material.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean.
So.
But you know what? I should ask you as well, because your reactions are really awesome to see. What's your opinion on this?
I mean, I don't know. I've been kind of saying it a bunch of times. He just seemed kind of like reckless and stuff, I mean, kind of reckless, and I don't know. It's sad. I just think he was really reckless and irresponsible, and his ego got in his way. And a lot of the experts and stuff that were warning him and stuff, he just kind of said, he kind of gave the finger to them, So I don't know. It's a really sad story. We never really hear of a missing submarine, and this thing also potentially puts a bad name, or it's going to affect maybe their industry potentially. I mean, it seems like he was the only one doing this type of thing with the carbon fiber. So I don't know. Maybe...
Dude, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a time and place where you basically can pioneer stuff. I mean, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but there is a time and place where you can pioneer stuff, and you do it in the right way.
Right.
You don't just basically, do it this way. This is like.
Well, I mean, to
this
me,
is a tragedy, obviously, but then.
I mean, you have people's lives on your hand. I mean, that's something you shouldn't take lightly. Apparently, he kind of said, "Fuck it."
For sure.
Especially with a 19-year-old on deck. A kid, a kid on your deck. That's what somebody said in the chat. Having a child on you would think that. I don't know.
for all intents and purposes, dude, they're still human beings. I mean, regardless of whether you or I have more money than them or less money than them, we can't return people's lives even if we take them, right? So they value. Sorry, they're supposed to get our sympathy or remorse for their lives lost. I understand that. I mean, the memes that are flying right, left, and center, and the douchebaggery that he did, I'll probably pin the entire thing on the CEO. But yeah, my hearts go out to those people who perished. So.
Luffy.
But you should look into the Formula One. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I will. Thank you, Luffy. Thanks for calling, man. I really appreciate you. I have one other person that's been holding for a while.
Sorry. I'm
no,
sorry
you're
for
good. You're
taking
good.
out, like,
It's the first time you
half an
call
hour.
him, man. No, it's the first time you call, so I really appreciate it. And the chat loves you.
Hey, no, this isn't the first time. Oi, I called during the JD trial.
Which trial?
A year ago. I did.
Wait, which trial?
A year ago. Day 18.
Which trial? Wait, you said June 18th?
Day number 18.
Oh, day 18. Day, you remember too? What day? Which trial?
I did. Yes, I do. I do.
Which trial?
JD's trial.
The what trial?
Johnny Depp.
Oh, Johnny Depp. Oh, JD. Johnny Depp. Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay. Awesome, man. Well, thank you. I guess it's been so long, I forgot. Second call, man. I got it.
Thank you for the stream. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all you do. But yeah, 25 minutes, dude. I've been wasting.
No, you're good. No, you're not wasting, man. You're a great caller. Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the stream.
Oh, of course.
Cheers.
Thank you, man. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
All right, wait. There's like a little bit of a delay. All right. Let me take this part if they're still here. Since they called twice. I don't know. 757. How you doing? I don't know if it's the other line. It says you called into it. Let me try taking you up on the other one. Hold on. Return a queue. Let me try this one. Oh, wait. Damn, wrong one. Return to queue. Okay, talk to this one. 757. Are you there? Can you hear me? Maybe I should call him back. How about that? Having trouble. Hello? 757? Maybe they walked away. Type it in over here. Give me 1 second. See if I can. Since they've been holding for a while, I'll try to call them back. The only near death experiences that I've had is I think the LSD story was a near death one. That's in the members area. And I don't know, the hydroplane possibly it could have turned out to be something bad, but nothing bad happened. There was one time I was in a hospital too for tachycardia, and they gave me Ativan IV, but I don't think I was actually near death. Let's see, call this. The worst one I think was the LSD story. Okay, I'm calling. Oh, they just hung up and called. Oh, that's somebody else that called.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, you were holding.
Hey, my bad.
That's okay. How you doing?
Yes, and I thought I disconnected, so I dialed again. I screwed the whole thing up.
It's all good. Thank you for holding all that time. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I just want to say, Mel, that I really enjoy your channel.
Oh, thank you.
And you have a lot of good peeps in the chat. And I know there's some trolls and some negativity, but, forget about them. I just want to say, go do your trip. Don't worry about the plane. It's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, weird about riding on trains and whatever, just simply because I have, an inner ear kind of issue going on. But if you put the little patches, if you have problems with that, you can get patches from your doctor that you put behind your ear. Do it 3 days before you go, and then you won't have any kind of equilibrium problems.
I didn't know there was a thing for that.
Was yeah, actually there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah, they can put it behind your ears, and so when the engine goes, your stomach doesn't drop, and it just like it makes riding on an airplane, cross country, or wherever much easier. So if you have those kind of issues, yeah, talk to a doctor or whatever, and just get them. And I think it's either 2 or 3 days for the best results to put them behind your ear, and you will not have a problem at all.
Okay.
Take away a lot of anxiety. You don't need to do Xanax and all that other crap, but it'll take away the anxiety because it just, I don't know, for some reason it works.
Does it get you high or something?
But no, it doesn't get you high. It just, yeah, we would. No, what it does, it just stops. It's like those things they tell you to wear, like those metal wrists or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
Does that work? That metal wrist thing? What does it do? Keep you in good health? Or
I don't
something?
know. I never really like went for that, but I did have when I flew across country. My friend gave me some of those little patches, and you just put them behind like your ear, and it really helps.
Oh, okay.
I
I'm
have
look into
issues with that.
I never heard of that.
I don't know the name of it. Maybe, yeah, maybe. And this was goodness about 8 years ago. So, yeah, since I've been on the plane. But yeah, it really does work. So look into that. I don't know the name of them, but it does work, and you can get, the patches from a doctor or your doctor.
Oh, it's prescribed. Okay, it's not like over the counter or something. Okay, I thought maybe it was over the counter.
Well, yeah, it's not over the counter. No, you have to. It's prescribed. And so she's like, "Well, here," because I'm like, and it kicked in on the way back, no problem. On the way over, because I put it on like 2 hours before we got on the plane, it was a little. I'm sure my passengers next to me were not happy with me, but it did kick in, and I had no problem on the way back. So if you suffer from anxiety or you have an inner ear problem, that does work. And I don't know the name of it. My bad, because I ain't been on a plane in 8 years.
Okay. Amazing. Well, thank you. Any thoughts with this story or anything, or you want to share a near-death experience, anything like that?
I have a near-death experience every time I go outside my door.
Oh, are you one of those people that you can't step out? Like, are you afraid to step out? What do they call it?
No, I'm being funny. I'm being funny.
Okay.
No, I'm being funny. No. I'm out there in the public every day.
Okay.
As far as the submersible, back when I was in college and they just started these things with the submersibles and underwater submarines, there are a lot of problems with pressure, just like they have problems going, up into the atmosphere. It changes your body. We were not meant to be underwater, or we'd be squid or fish.
Right.
Same thing up in the air. It causes, they did a lot of, they still are ongoing experiments. The astronauts, they lose height. And that's why they're all small, tiny folks that go up there. So I don't know if you've ever seen the original capsules back in the 60s that they've gone up into the air. Those people were like tiny. Smart, but tiny. You can't put a 6-foot person in one of those. Just like in submersibles, you have to be tiny. You take up less space, take up less oxygen. But I just think that something like that worldwide needs to really be regulated. Really, truly, it does. Even Jacques Cousteau, when he did, and he pioneered a lot of this stuff, they were regulated. They did checks. They put unmanned submersibles down in the water. They did everything unmanned first to see what the effects of pressure does on, one, just what you're going down into, much less what it does into people. And I just think that we all know what happened to Titanic. I know we all want to do and go and do these exciting things and great things, but at what cost? How much has it cost the world, or United States, or Canada, or wherever else was involved in it, to go and do the search and rescue?
Right.
I mean, it costs a lot of money that could have been better used elsewhere for something that this person did not take the proper steps to make sure, hey, you're paying all this amount of money. I'm going to make sure you go down there and you come back up. Yeah, I'm going to have you sign a waiver. Just like a lot of people in the chat were saying, don't give me a waiver after I pay the money. I want to see the waiver before I pay the money, because I might go, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a waiver, I guess. I mean, I guess it seems like, because going off of what that text message that the guy said, I forgot one of the previous, I don't know if it was, I forgot the guy's name already, but Stockton was offering discounts to come and kind of really trying to convince him, oh, it's safe and you're safer than going in a helicopter and all sorts of stuff too. So I wonder if he kind of did this with other people that felt unsure or scared about going, you know?
He was probably, and I don't know anything about this Rush person, he's probably very charismatic. He was probably a good talker. He's probably a good convincer, all the same thing. And, hey, no worries here. Well, yeah, you have to do your research. Just like when you go on a cruise ship. And I've known a lot of people that have gone cruise ships. My neighbor across the street, her and her family, once a year. And they'd always come back with that foot disease. I don't know what it's called. I don't know, because I've never had it. But because bathing in the showers, things are not 100% clean. And then I knew this other person always come back sick, because you have all these people from all over the world crammed into this little boat. And yeah, it's great, it's lovely, it's fun, but you have sick people. I remember flying back from California one time, and there were some people from Asia, and this guy was, it's like, what? And, who knows what he brought back from Asia. And gave it to everybody because he's I know. But hey, I'm sorry. Forget about that. You're not flying from California. Big difference. You're doing local. But you just don't know. And, that's a chance you have to take, because, yes, you have to live your life, have fun, but some things, are they really worth putting yourself through, your family through?
Right.
Because this dude, he took a lot of people down. Not just the people that were in the submersible with him, but people that had invested money in him, their families, their grandchildren, their children. It was a lot. And, the 19-year-old in America is not considered an adult until you're 21. But he was an American, so I don't know where the chips are going to fall. But I want to take up, all your time. I just want to say thank you, Mel. I like and respect you, as we all do in the chat. You don't do no funny, stupid stuff.
I don't.
And you're always aware of your surroundings and the content that you're putting out. And I like the way you say, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be canceled.
I appreciate that.
And my son was saying today, yeah, it'd be great to do a YouTube thing, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, it would. I said, but I just heard from you yesterday. And I was out, in the middle of nowhere. And you said, this could all go to poo in the morning, and I could wake up and be out of a job. And that's what I told him. I said, Mel's been on and doing this since, 2009?
I started at the end of 2016. I had a YouTube account for a while, but I didn't actually start making videos till the end of 2016. And then I didn't go. It wasn't
an overnight thing.
No. It's been a long time, and then I didn't go full time until 2 years ago, I think, something like that. Maybe this is the third year now.
Well, and that's what I was telling him. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes a passion, and if you're not willing to put that time in and do that, it doesn't happen overnight.
Well, thank you for the call.
You've done that. You've done really well. Okay, absolutely love you.
Thanks. Appreciate the support.
Listening.
All right, take care.
All right, good night.
Good night. Adios. Did you know that torpedoes, originally they were made with I was watching all this shit the other day, and it used to be filled with it was air pressure. I don't think they do that anymore. They fill it up with air pressure, and then a switch would go off, and they'd have it through the cycling thing. So it's I guess, a controlled amount going. But what happened was there would be too much air coming up from the top, and it was easy to spot. And so then they changed it to electrical. But like the first one, they had like all these freaking batteries in there. So they had to make like this huge ass long torpedo with all these batteries inside. And then I don't know what they use now. Probably something. I forgot. I don't know. I mean, I got the nuclear. Well, I don't know what they're. I forgot what it said after. Oh, this shit is dope too because they're controlling it. All right, let me get the next caller. We got one person. Okay, 646. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mel. It's Jackie Garnett. How you doing?
Jackie, what's up? You're always in the chat. You've always been so supportive. How you doing? Thank you for calling. Hola.
You're never gonna get rid of me. Hola.
Good. I'm glad. Some people here today, gone tomorrow. I make one mistake. These people gone. I appreciate
For
that.
real, I'm having so much anxiety with this story. Like, it's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to first, you know, give my condolences to the family, to the 5 people on the sub, you know, rest in peace, respectfully. So that's first. This whole story, like I said, gives me anxiety because I can't even imagine being in that situation, just going down alone. I got to the point where I can't even get on the plane at this point because I panic about everything. I became like an overthinker.
Ooh. So
everything. I started.
You can't even get on a plane.
Listen, I can't even get in the shower and wash my hair. I start panicking when the water goes over my face.
Why? But why?
I'm like, I don't know why. I think I overthink everything. I start feeling like, I want to call it claustrophobic, but everything is not claustrophobia. I don't know. I can't explain it. I start like, oh my God, I have to open the curtain just to wash my hair. So can you imagine on the plane, I start thinking of the height that we're flying, the speed.
Right.
And then I've been flying since I was young, so I was okay back then. They didn't have those screens on the seat in front of you. You know, like back in the days, you just flew and they might announce it. The pilot might announce it when he first starts the flight. But now you see the map. It tells you the speed, the height they're flying. I don't think I want to know all that. You know.
Yeah,
so.
with the shower thing, I used to get in the shower and I used to always think about like somebody sneaking up on me or something. Maybe because of all the movies and shit. You know, like.
Psycho.
Yeah, but
right?
but that's but you know what? Having an alarm makes me a little bit more at ease because like nobody's gonna open the window or open the door while I'm taking a shower if I got the alarm without me knowing. You know.
Okay, now you took it further than I did. So I think you understand what I'm feeling. No, because I got kids and you know they come in and out. It's just something about suffocating that I don't know. I just can't even take a shower. Like I'm bugging out, and I'm like, I can't imagine going that deep at all. I would just panic out. I can't do it. So I feel for them.
It would bother me too.
The other thing I was thinking about,
right?
Yeah, I would just bug out. I'd be like, get me out of here. I'd start making noises. I would mess up the whole trip. They would kick me out.
Wow.
What I was thinking about, you know, it had me thinking about waivers that we signed on a daily basis. Like, you know, I go for surgery a lot and they give you these things to sign and everything is telling you all these risks with anesthesia, this, that.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just go off and you sign things, but I think you kind of do it in the hopes that, I know it's like standard, but
Jackie, hold that thought 1 second, Jackie. Hold it right there. I just gotta answer the door. Hold it right there.
Okay, baby.
I'm back. Go ahead, Jackie. With the waivers.
Okay, baby, you okay?
Yes, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, yeah, with the waivers, it had me thinking, because I have had lately a lot of surgeries, and you read all that technical stuff. I noticed that, you know, this had me thinking, like, I just gloss over it. I look for, like, words that might, you know, be alarming, but you go ahead and sign. It's like, you're already there. I think you kind of do it thinking, well, they're the experts. This is standard. Let me just sign and keep it going. You know, so these people probably read it and said, this is good. This is standard. Let's just go ahead and sign it. I mean, when you go for surgery, they have the word, death in there too. And you just go ahead and sign it. You're not a professional to sit there and read each and everything and back out at that time. So I don't know.
That's true. Everybody just signs that thing, hoping. I mean, that's exactly what you said. Like, if you're gonna go do a surgery or whatever, I mean, that's a more, I guess, better risk, I guess, compared to this shit. But still, you sign that stuff not thinking the worst is gonna happen.
Right, and then you kind of put some unknown trust to these people because they're professionals, and so you're like, okay, they know better than me. I guess they're letting me know this could happen, but you're like, okay, F it, let me just sign it and keep going. I don't know. The other thing I was thinking about too is maybe you can help me. What exactly was he being innovative about? Like, is it the materials he used? Is it the fact that he took down 5 people? I'm trying to find out what part was supposed to be innovative.
I don't know. I guess pushing the limits, but that was, I don't know. I'm not sure what the innovation part was. I guess, I don't know, using materials that you're not supposed to. I don't know, defying the laws or defying the defying the,
like,
I don't know. I can't even think of the word. Define what's allowed by these people. Everyone says materials, design, all of it. I guess so. Maybe that's what the innovation part was supposed to be. Going out of the standards of what they tell you. Cutting corners. The innovation was cutting corners.
Yeah, I think that's it. And starting with the controller. Like, hello, even my son.
That's
he
true.
plays video games. He was like, he used Logitech.
That's what. That's the first thing I said. I was like, hell nah, Logitech.
Of all things, Logitech. I think I had like a Logitech. What you call that? A mouse and a keypad, and that didn't take me long to finish with that. So I'm like, Logitech. I couldn't even get a decent keyboard and mouse with a Logitech. Not to say anything. We don't want anybody canceled here. But, I was just trying to put my finger on what is he supposed to be innovative about? And you're right. It could be cut corners. It definitely could. Build a cheaper one. I mean, he was better off using whatever's out there and improving it, find one item or something that would be different from the subs that's already out there.
Well,
I don't know.
Hoax said too that most deep dives are one or two man or woman, or I don't know what the safe term is. One or two genders. Oh no, that's not it. One or two people. Right, that's better. One or two humans. But even human says man in it, so that's not. I don't know. Pupils. One or two pupils. And so this one can contain 5 people. And so that's the innovation,
right?
Which maybe that's the more dangerous thing. Like, you have more open space in there, more susceptibility to more pressure being put upon the whole structure.
Right. I mean, that's another thing. I'm not an expert in this whatsoever. All we could do is look at it and criticize, and especially that it's hindsight 2020. We could say these things, but I mean, at least start with, 2 people, 3, increase it as you go along. I mean, you're going to take down all those people, and, that's just tragic. I'm sorry. It's really tragic. That's all I really had to say. That's been on my mind, my claustrophobia, my signing waivers, and what is this guy really being innovative about?
Right.
But I'm not going to hold you up, baby. I know you're busy. I love you, Mel.
I love you too. Thank you so much. You have been riding with me for a while, so I appreciate that.
Oh, definitely. Listen, I had to go through my own mental therapy to wean off of you because
don't
you have these trials.
Oh, the child thing. Yeah,
I'm telling you. Yeah, it's like a schedule. So I start scheduling my schedule around yours, so it keeps me intact. But now it's like, whatever, you do whatever. I love being, on, watching you and everything. You're great. I love you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thank you for calling.
You're very welcome. Take care and
All
keep
right.
doing what you're doing. I'll be right here.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, sweetie. Bye.
That was
Bye.
nice. That was nice. Jackie calling in. I wanted to take a look at this video. This was 3 hours ago. Billionaire, the top leaders of the world. Billionaire. Bruh. Billionaire.
Las Vegas billionaire and his son had planned to go on the fatal voyage of the submersible, but pulled out. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush scoffed at their fears, texting, "It's way safer than flying in a
These are the people that we were just talking about.
helicopter or even scuba diving. My son's friend researched what could go wrong and put a little scare in him," financier Jay Bloom texted Rush. But Rush dismissed their fears as stupid stuff.
How do you feel about that now?
Stockton actually believed what he was saying. His intentions were good. He had a good heart. He was a good man. He believed in he drank his own Kool-Aid.
Seemingly desperate to fill empty seats, Rush offered Bloom and his son a $200,000 discount. Last minute price is $150,000.
Damn, bro, them discount offers. Really trying to get a sale. I wonder what the conversation was like, because the guy, the father and his son went on this. I think they're the ones that went after him. Did they offer them a more discounted price? Did he drop to $100K or like what
Dollars per passenger, he wrote, but they passed. Instead, Jay Bloom and his son Sean's places were taken by Pakistani mogul Shahzada Dawood and his son.
I see that father and son that took the seats that we passed on.
Yeah, I do need some honey.
But for the grace of God, that could
I
be
have
our
honey,
picture.
actually.
Discovery Channel host Josh Gates took a test drive on the Titan and posted, "I walked away due to my safety concerns." BBC cameras captured the chilling moments on a voyage last year when it was discovered an engine had been, get this, put on backwards.
One of the thrusters is thrusting backwards right now.
Bro! I can't with this shit, bro. I can't.
It was discovered an engine had been, get this, put on backwards.
One of the thrusters is thrusting backwards.
So this one of the college. Who put on the thruster? Because I know he said he wasn't hiring the 50-year-old white guys. So I guess it was like a diversity hire. They just put whoever. You don't need qualifications. Like the sub wasn't qualified. Why would I believe anybody else? Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but who knows? Bruh. They just take on whoever. It don't matter what kind of education, whatever. You're in it.
Right now.
Look at that passenger's reaction. The mission.
Bro, imagine you're on this shit and they tell you the thruster is on backwards. Bro. Luffy. What's Luffy thinking in the chat?
One of the thrusters is thrusting backwards right now.
Look at that passenger's reaction. The mission went ahead anyway. The most serious structural flaw may have been using carbon fiber and titanium in the pressure hull. Famed director James Cameron, whose film Titanic is the 4th most popular movie of all time, appeared on Good Morning America with Bob Ballard, the explorer who discovered the Titanic wreck.
The Achilles heel of the sub was the composite cylinder that was the main hull that the people were inside. That carbon fiber composite cylinder is now just in very small pieces.
Bob Ballard has known Stockton Rush for 20
And
years.
still continue with the mission. I guess to come up, they just need to release the ballast or whatever. But how do you even propel yourself down? How do you even have control of your shit? Wouldn't you go in circles? If one's forward and one's backward?
Years.
His dream was to go down and explore the Titanic, but unfortunately that dream turned into a nightmare.
Debris from the Titan was discovered just 500 yards from the Titanic. The submersible is believed to have sustained a catastrophic implosion less than 2 hours after starting its descent. The 5 passengers apparently...
Maybe shut one off, maybe. Bruh. Dude just said send it. What in the hell? Lord. All right, so that's it for the calls. Let me close it down. All right, I guess that's it. I guess we're done, man. Thank you guys so much for coming through tonight. If there's a chase, I will jump back on for sure. But I'm just gonna chill. I might clip a little bit of the stream tonight. Wow. What was that about the other father and son? There was a different father and son. That's kind of weird. It just happens to be two father and sons. And so the previous father and son declined, and so they got another father and son? The heck? I guess because of Father's Day. Weird. Appreciate that, Betty. Thank you so much. 808. Hey, you, Lupfee. Teresa, thank you for all the callers tonight. Oh, and I missed somebody's super chat yesterday. Wait, did I miss anything else right now? Cheeky Cheeks. This whole thing is like a plot to a movie. Wild as F. And Darren Dangler lost both their lives for 0.005% of his net. Damn. Nomadicio, thank you for the membership. Yesterday, I don't think I see her in the chat today. Sarah M sent 2 super chats. If I see her next time, I don't know if she's in here today. Sarah M. No, I guess not. Maybe she got pissed, probably, because I forgot her super chat last night. Did you see Stockton Rush's wife, Wendy, is a descendant of Titanic victim, Ida and Isidore Strauss? So insane. And it also said, shoulda used an Atari joystick, last forever. Sarah M, I don't know if you're in there or watching, but sorry about last. If I see you again, I'll re-say them next time. But it was an accident. I didn't do that on purpose. All right. So thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Take care. Peace. Bye. The chase.